Yeah, you definitely have to get used to it, because there's been times I've been talking, then I have to like correct myself midway through, be like, oh yeah, this is something that other people are going to be listening to as well. Then I guess it comes with the territory.
What should I make the title of the stream? I'm trying to think of something funny.
Yeah, I was trying to come up with that as well. I mean, I guess we should have at least...
I figured it out. It's fine.
Semicolon.
I figured it out.
I'm proud of you. You saved the day.
Upload custom thumbnail. Okay.
While you're setting that up, once we have the link, I'm gonna tweet that out of our account, then retweet it from mine to see if we can get anyone to bite.
Well, hold on. It's generating something. Let's see here. Stream URL. No. Done. It's not connecting to my streaming software. Hey, that worked. All right. Oh.
What's up?
Hold on. Okay. So we are live.
We're live.
Yeah, but I don't have anything on the screen because everything's terrible. Okay. So we are live.
Well, that is just grand.
I don't have anything on the screen because everything's terrible. Let me see here. So I'm just trying to figure out, because it won't let me do a window capture for some reason. It's calling the window like a program, and it won't.
Is there any way to share this? Yeah, you can't share the screen. Okay.
Hold on, I'm getting there.
Yeah, you're good. I can't even share my screen unless I reset it, which I'm not going to do right now.
It's only not letting me capture Chrome. I don't know why.
Well, that's bullshit.
It just comes up as nothing. I can capture Discord. And I can capture Spotify Premium.
Well, ain't that fancy.
That's really cool.
Oh my god, Jake. I just opened up Washington Post. We have now set a new daily high of 55,000 cases.
Oh yeah, I knew it was a high, but I wasn't aware that was how many in one day. Jesus.
I was watching earlier, and we can get into this later, but one of the hospitals in San Antonio is just completely overwhelmed, and they had this doctor who, when he was being interviewed, nearly broke down into tears because he was saying that he's had an influx of patients who were like mid to late 20s who desperately need care, but they can't even fit them in. He's like, I've never had to witness that once in my career, because there's a chance they could likely die if they don't get care. It's staggering.
Let's see here. And then I can do some stuff here. We're just going to experiment. I mean, keep talking. We can keep. Oh wait, I'm not.
Some stuff here.
There we go.
I hear something.
Yeah, I mean I've got this going just because, but I'm gonna do something else here.
While you do that, like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and tweet this out the best that I can.
Here. I know what I can do. I know what I can do.
We're on the right path.
No, I'm on the worst path.
I love the title. Bring it back. Guillotines are ethical.
Is that what it is now? I tried to make it the no Malarkey zone.
No, right now it's guillotines are ethical.
Let's see, desktop. Okay.
Sorry, I'm trying to get this done really quick.
You do you, boo. Actually.
Right, retweet with comment. Nope, wrong Twitter account. Nope, wrong Twitter account again.
Huh?
That has been officially tweeted. That has been big. Officially tweeted. That has been big. Alright, so right now I see the graphics. It's looking very trippy, but I like it.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
What are you using?
OBS.
Oh, right. Also, if you haven't noticed, I have a lot of true crime videos, because that's pretty much all I watch now. I'm pretty sure I'm subscribed to like 4 different true crime accounts.
I mean, I'm proud of you.
Dude, I love true crime. I don't even know why.
Let me see. Alright, so that should just be just the picture, and then if I want to do the display capture, I can go back over here. There we go. So now I can do this, right? Right? You watching?
I am.
So now, if I want to be like, look at the video or whatever, we can watch a video, and then we can go. Boop.
Dude, you are a wizard. I swear.
I'm not a wizard. I am just a man. Let me see.
American hero.
Okay, so go on the stream for me.
Already on.
Okay, and I'm just gonna click this. Tell me if you can hear it. Click this. Tell me if you can hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Click this.
No.
Okay. Okay.
Nope.
No, no. I'm stuck in a loop.
Wait, hold on. Yes, I can. I'm kidding. There we go.
Okay. Wait, it was just... Were you muted?
Yes. Nope. Yes.
No, no. I'm stuck in a loop.
Wait, hold on. Yes, I can. I'm kidding. There we go.
Okay. Wait, it was just... Were you muted?
Yeah, it was.
Wait, it was just...
Oh, wait, no. I just repeated the same. Oh,
So
okay.
you can't hear it, though?
Yeah, no, I can.
Awesome.
You want me to change it to the no Malarkey zone?
If you want, yeah.
Do you want any sort of description on it? Or could we? I guess we could do that afterwards.
Yeah, sure, why not?
All right, that is fixed.
Did you watch? So Tucker Carlson had this thing yesterday that was pretty terrible. What was it? He was just talking about like this. This might have been from the segment.
All right, let me get this. I love that man, Tucker Carlson. I love that man, Tucker Carlson.
I don't think this is it.
Tucker Carlson.
I don't think this is...
All right, so side note, I can hear it, and I have my volume turned up all the way, but it's drowned out. If that makes any sense.
Let me see if I can do this. Hold on. Listen now.
It's drowned out. If that makes any sense.
Let me see if I can do this. Hold on. Listen now.
It's drowned out. If that makes any sense.
Let me see if I can do this. Hold on. Listen now.
It's drowned out. If that makes any sense.
Let me see if I can do this. Hold on. Can you hear it now?
No, but I've. Are you watching by chance? Because our audio is repeating. Like, I just heard us say the same thing 3 different times in a row.
Do you think what are the chances Raz Simone goes back to his...
Here, let me try this.
Times in a row.
Do you think what are the chances Raz Simone goes back to his...
Here, let me try this.
Times in a row.
Okay. Here, let me try this.
Yeah, it's still repeating, dude. Times in a row.
Okay.
I'm
Oh, I know. I can fix this. I have the technology.
Is it part of the program you're using, or?
Oh, 100%.
Fantastic.
All right, now.
A St. Louis couple called Mark and Patricia McCloskey became folk heroes to many across the country after they were confronted by...
Let's see if it changed anything.
...and returned with firearms to protect folk heroes to many across the country after they were confronted by...
Let's see if it changed anything. Let's see if it changed anything. Yeah, it's still repeating.
I think it might be because you can hear it through my headphones. Hold on.
Yeah. To everyone listening,
There's
welcome.
no one listening. Go ahead and listen now.
Seems like it. All right. To everyone listening,
There's no one listening. Go ahead and listen now.
Seems like it. All right. To everyone listening,
There's no one listening. Go ahead and listen now.
All right. To everyone listening,
There's no one listening. Go ahead. Listen. I think it's just because you're listening to it, maybe.
yeah, that might be the case. I'm gonna click out of it. Shit. How would we?
Wait, I think it's picking up your mic, maybe?
I mean, I would. Yeah, it has to be. I just.
Because I think it's repeating because it's picking up what you're hearing. I think it's picking up the voices. Hold on. Because I think it's your Mac, like it intuitively picks up voices,
Uh-huh.
and I think it's filtering out everything but the voices. Hold on. Here. Luckily, no one's listening.
Thank goodness.
And once we get it figured out, I can delete the VOD, and then we can start over. Let's see. Da 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 da. Da da da. Now it's not picking up anything.
That's wonderful. It's off to a great start, you could say.
Wait, it's not picking up my audio, but it's picking up yours.
That makes no sense.
It does. Hold on.
I just didn't imagine it being this complicated.
Oh, it is. It's a bitch. Let's see here.
Yeah, clearly.
Okay. Dut. Dut dut dut.
Anything.
Hold on. Say something.
Say something. Anything.
Say something.
Words. Mouth. Say something. Anything. Say something. Words. Mouth. Say something. Nothing.
Oh, there's still an echo, but I'm trying to prove where it's from.
I mean, on my end, what could I do to,
Because I'm like halfway sure it's on my end. What is your channel named?
I don't even know. Wait, is my channel named Joel? I thought I had it to... Yep, it is. I thought it was Bring It Back podcast or something like that. Let's fix that.
Oh, you said it as your nickname.
You what?
You said it as the nickname.
Yeah, let's fix that. 1 second. Personal info, I guess. Yep. Bring it back. Yep. All right, so it should be bring it back now.
At the start of this year, Gardner sued the local police.
Also known as bib.
So it should be
Rolls off the
bring it
tongue.
back now.
Racially motivating.
Also known as
It's a
bitch.
Klan act.
Rolls off the tongue.
As if. After riots ripped through countless American cities, Gardner was clear about who she supported in it all.
I've noticed that the Attorney General is tweeting quite a bit about looters and rioters, and not about the fact that we have a history of police violence in the city and nation, and that has caused people to take to the streets yet again to demand for accountability and change in our criminal justice
Oh,
system.
I know why it's repeating. Because I was listening to it on my desktop.
Looting and crime.
Because I have it set up to capture all desktop audio.
McCloskey's defended themselves. Gardner finally found a
Well, at least we have a solution now, right?
She
Oh yeah,
promised
no,
to be
it's...
punished if she could.
I am disturbed by the events that
So
occurred.
you listen to it now and tell me if it echoes at all.
Protesters were met
All right,
with
let me
guns and
refresh.
violent assault. We must protect the rights to peaceful
Actually, I need to
protests.
change what's on the screen because if I just sit here with that on, it'll...
Mess it up.
I'll get pinged. No, they'll take me down because they scan through with algorithms, and if you just stream a show, then they'll be angry.
Oh yeah. Yeah, let's not have that happen.
So could you hear that? Is it echoing?
I'm not even seeing it right now. Let me hop into it again, but it's...
It says it's live.
Yeah, let me go into the account. Okay, there we go. Hop into it again, but it's...
It says it's live. I can
Yeah,
hear
let me go into the
it's.
account.
Oh, I know why it's echoing even more now because I can hear the stream
Do it again, but it's...
whenever you play it on yours, and so since I can hear it on my desktop, then I can hear it again, like it, because I have it set to like all audio that goes through my audio card.
Oh, okay. Got it. Well, and I mean, if I mute it, I'm assuming that would fix that.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure why it's picking it up on your mic, but yeah.
I mean, the only thing I could think of is since I'm not using my AirPods at the moment, it's just recording the audio that's coming from the laptop.
Yeah. All right. So let me go ahead. Okay. We're back live.
Let me pull this up really quick.
They left.
You know what? They were there, and that's what counts, right?
They were there when we needed them.
I'm never gonna forget them.
I've already forgot them.
All right. So we are live, correct? Yes.
Correct.
All right. So for all three of you watching, thank you.
It's just one. It's one. It's not three.
Oh well, all one of you watching.
There you go.
It means a lot, and
It means almost nothing to me.
that's very sweet, Jake. I'm sure that they love hearing that. But I like to be positive, and I'm going to put positivity out in the world.
Wow. Amazing.
So, as I believe I'd mentioned to you earlier, we have about 3,400 subscribers by sheer luck. And it all started with an Animoji karaoke video 3 years ago. Something that got me 1.6 million views. And hopefully some of y'all will tune in at some point if you even know what account this is. But I guess we'll find out, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So we have a podcast. It's called Bring It Back. It's terrible, and we just started it. And we're gonna start doing live streams. So if any of you are here, cool. But yeah. So let's talk about some stuff. So today, top COVID cases. I think since everything started, right? Like top in one day.
Yeah, and this is for the entire world too, because the previous record recently was Brazil, and I think they nearly hit 50,000, but it was around 47, 48, And as I speak right now, it's jumped up to 56,922 cases.
Well, that works out really well because in America, a bunch of people just got fired, and since our health insurance is tied to our jobs and all those people, it's not time for like the healthcare marketplace to be open unless they want to get like Cobra, which costs like thousands of dollars a month. It's impossible for any of those people to get health insurance. So that's
a big bonus. Yeah. I mean,
like,
it's encouraging to say the least.
I do want to note that our one viewer actually left as soon as I brought up that. So
I mean, I don't blame you, previous viewer.
They're gone. But yeah, I don't know, man. I just yeah.
When I was
on the bright side, Herman Cain got COVID for going to the Trump rally.
Dude, did you see his tweets?
Oh my god, no.
They were incredible. Actually, I'm going to read them off.
Please
while I have this pulled up. So, of course, he was at the rally in Tulsa 2 weeks ago. But I'm assuming it was his staff were tweeting from it. And I believe it was yesterday that they were criticizing wearing masks and, the whole hoax of COVID anyway.
Let me see. I'm going through it on the stream. I have it pulled up. Let's see.
Beautiful.
I mean, yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, that just sounds like what the right does. I do think it's funny that now everybody's coming out, everyone from even Trump, which his statements on why he's wearing a mask now, just, I mean...
How did I miss that?
he says he's for it now, so he's for wearing a mask now because he says it makes him look like the Lone Ranger.
No fucking way.
Yeah, that was his actual that was his actual, like, I don't even, it goes on your mouth and it like, there's no holes in it like the Lone Ranger mask, so it's like, I really don't understand what he means by it makes him look like the Lone Ranger.
Sometimes I have a hard time grasping that he's a real person, because I mean, let's just put aside all of his terrible policy, all of his erratic behavior. It's just when you look at how he can't even phrase it, it really makes you wonder.
I really like going and just like reading like in text, like in plain text, one of his speeches, and just how
that's my favorite pastimes of his presidency.
It's so hard, and you can picture him saying it and him just like repeating things and switching topics or whatever, but like reading it, like it sounds more natural for him when he's speaking because he's got the bravado behind it. He's doing his whole Trump thing. But when you read it, it doesn't matter how articulate he sounded when you watched it. It just sounds like someone.
It's nonsensical.
It looks like someone's running it through like Google Translate, like somebody else's like thoughts on something. It's always a good time.
Well, I think that's what's so fun about being able to mimic Trump is, I mean, aside from him being very predictable, it's just really all you have to do is just repeat 2 words of a sentence about 3 times, give someone a nickname, and you're pretty much covered. That's like the end all be all. He's just so... I always wonder if he's aware that he talks like an idiot, or if that's just something that's kind of come as he's aged, because like
I think it's some of his appeal, not like an idiot, but like he like it's always been his thing, right? He shoots from the hip. He doesn't think, he says what he feels. Like that's always been what people have liked about him. Like that's not like a new thing.
It's not, but I mean, when you go back and look at interviews even from 10-15 years ago, by no means am I saying that he was more articulate, but it's just it felt like he had a better hold on how he could express certain opinions and emotions.
Maybe
like the infamous clip of him, I want to say it was probably 2010. Fox News interviewed him, and he was asked about Hillary Clinton, and he had nothing but praise to say about her and Bill. And it was most likely all phony anyways, but even then he sounded more, I guess, like robust, so to speak, which I almost It's weird saying that about Trump, but times have changed.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know, and almost times haven't changed. I mean, like we've been talking about this a lot, especially like on the podcast, but just like how everyone reacts to any time Trump does something bad. Like it always amazes me that like fucking far left like shit libs will like every time Trump says or anything regarding him where it's like this is gonna be the end. Like every article's written like Trump said this. Is this what's gonna be the tipping point? Is this where? No, it's not. People that they don't give a shit what he does. Like people who actually really like Trump, people who are just like in Trump's corner, they don't give one shit what he does or says. As long as it does two things: makes liberals angry and confirms some bias they have. Like it's just, I mean, it's.
And I think in the beginning when he was running for president, because I mean, admittedly, I don't think a lot of people followed him on Twitter and saw his antics, but I think in the first few months we kind of had an excuse to be like, holy shit, like this is just bananas. Like he's not going to stay in the race, right? But by the end of 2015, it became apparent that one, he was going to win the nomination, and it was also apparent that he could easily say whatever he wanted and face no retaliation for it.
I mean, yeah, that was like his big thing was shoot somebody and he'd get away with it because like anything that he's done that like I mean, even Republicans that are currently in office, what they were talking about with him, like whenever he was running and all like you go back and read like Mitch McConnell quotes where he was saying if we choose no, it wasn't McConnell, it was the other old white man. Yeah, Lindsey Graham. The other guy with no chin. And he has more of a chin than you know what I'm very sorry, sir. You have a much bigger chin than Mitch McConnell. I really apologize. I mean, it really is bigger, but like
I'm sorry, I did not mean to offend you.
I really love you. But just like him saying, if we choose Trump, it's going to be the death of the Republican Party, and then them all saying how immoral he was, and them all saying how he's the worst, and criticizing him, and then once he's in power they just get on their knees and they just lick it, and it's like it would be funny if it wasn't like driving policy. Like it would be hilarious if it wasn't like every time Trump does something bad everybody's afraid that he's going to like go on stage and shit talk them, and then because of that they're going to lose whatever election they have coming up. So they just, I don't know, man. It's
one of the things that I think about often, and I'm not really sure if it is going to come true with everyone, but let's be positive and say that Trump loses pretty badly this fall. Once he is formally out of office, and let's say it's a few months into Biden's presidency, how many Republicans that are, of course, in office do you think are going to come out and be like, listen, I fucking hated that guy? Or do you think they're still going to cower behind him being the greatest president we've had, etc.?
I think it's going to be a split, and it's going to be entirely based off of exactly what, like, his popularity rating whenever he's at his end, whether that's in half a year or if that's in 4. Like it's going to be how popular he is with his actual base at the end, because that base is going to make up a lot of these like swing states and all that, the things that he's used to win in the past and that he will need this time. But I like there's going to have to be a drop in that, and it doesn't matter what national poll they do on like how you like your president or whatever, because I mean, as 2016 proved, polls are just, they're polls, they're percentages, right? I mean, there's they had Trump at a 2% chance of winning. Even if that was true, like if that was the actual factual like chances of him being able to win and not just what they were saying, then the 2% happened. So it's a chance, right? And so I don't know. I don't see many of his supporters ever, no matter how low his approval rating gets, no matter if he takes a shit live on television and it rolls down his pant leg, like that they're going to say the Democrats poisoned him, or don't be mad at him. Like, it's just whatever is doesn't mean he's dying. It just means that he has too much work to do. He's too busy to take a shit in the toilet, so he just goes down his pant leg. Like, it's never going to be none of it's ever going to be an actual issue for them.
Right.
Now, there are those Republicans that just voted for him over Hillary, and those Republicans that aren't like real into Trump. They like how he is on the economy, but I don't like what he does with that. I don't like what he says sometimes. Where in reality they hate what he says, but because he's their party leader. Just like if how I started to defend Hillary at the end because I didn't want Trump. It's that same thing. It's like that same cognitive dissonance.
It's funny you say that because like right before we went live, CNN had a story down in Florida where surprisingly Trump's lead with those 65 and older is starting to move in Biden's direction. And they went to this one semi-wealthy retirement, I don't know, like neighborhood.
Yeah.
And all but one of the people there used to be Trump supporters, and all of them were like, I didn't really like Hillary and I didn't really like Trump, but Trump I was hoping would do something for the country, and he didn't, and now he's just mishandling every single possible thing that he can. So they switched parties, and even the one Trump supporter who did speak, he was like, I like him, I just kind of wish that he would act his age. And of course they don't speak for all of Florida, they don't speak for all the the boomers, but I think it's interesting insight because the whole anti-Hillary anti-voting method that went down in 2016 was a huge driving factor into why he was elected.
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, because Hillary was such a just specially terrible candidate, like, it's hard to overstate how bad it was for them to run her. Because people that were young didn't like Trump, so it was easy for them to get excited for anyone that wasn't him. And so they got excited about Hillary. She was a woman, and that was something, that would have been genuine progress, and it would have been a genuine, step forward in some ways, and that would have been exciting. But really, that would have been the only unique thing about her. And everything else is just like, I mean, her policies before Bernie picked up traction were just dead center. Like, they were not right wing, they weren't left wing, they weren't progressive beyond like lip service. I mean, it was genuinely like middle. And like the only reason why I at the time wanted her more than Trump, and going back I probably still would, but yeah, she was just going to be a continuation of Obama. We were going to keep committing war crimes, bombing hospitals, and being involved in countries militarily we aren't supposed to be in. And we were still going to, give way too much money to corporations and not give money to people. And we're going to do all the same shit, but it would have been relatively boring. I do think the Republicans would have tried to do stuff, to get her out of office. I don't think they would have gone as far as the Democrats did with Trump, because I don't think she's as corrupt. I think she's more like sneaky, how everybody that is super deep in politics is, where if Oppo research won't turn it up, you're not going to know about it, kind of stuff, like, because that's what they are. But I just feel like it would have been boring. They would have dragged her in for another Benghazi-like hearing. She would have gone because she's not beneath that. She'll go and she'll tell her truth. It would have been, I don't know.
And I think there's two big repercussions if she were elected. Is one, to your point, Republicans would have done anything possible to get her out of office. But two, the now famous blue wave of 2018 in the midterms wouldn't have happened at all. Maybe some of the candidates like AOC still would have run, but I don't think they would have had the same popularity. I don't think that there would have been, such a strong desire to elect more Democrats into local offices, mostly because her presidency would be, like you said, boring. Like, there wouldn't be much that she could accomplish, even if she had some sort of support. Because having a Senate and the House that both hates your guts does not help you at all. And I mean, I really do think even if she had narrowly won by 1%, she would have been a one-term president. Because then you also have Tim Kaine, and I know that vice presidents don't really affect the vote that much, but like Tim Kaine,
that pick still like doesn't make any sense to me. Like I still can't. I think she was going for just a very like milquetoast, like just middle of the road, just kind of hasn't really done much, but hasn't done much bad either. Just kind of been there for a while. Like,
but he can speak Spanish, so.
Why didn't they pick someone who was Hispanic or Latinx or whatever? Like
he was like one of the top picks. I was like, yes, pick that dude.
But yeah, they should have picked Castro. That would have been a great pick.
I was rooting for him from the beginning, and then Tim Kaine. I think her pick for VP perfectly described her entire campaign. Because, aside from her completely ignoring the Rust Belt for some fucking...
Hey, if you're just, like, looking at the stream, can you copy and paste the URL? Like, not the live dashboard one, but just the actual stream URL?
Yeah.
But, like, yeah. No, I mean, like... I mean, there's so many picks that were popular at the time. Like, can you imagine if she would have offered VP to Bernie?
Oh, my God, dude. That would have been a massive win.
She would have won. And Bernie, I think, would have done it at the time.
Well, because Bernie, actually, unlike Hillary, tries to be professional instead of being a petty 13-year-old, as we saw in that one Netflix documentary.
Oh, my God. Did you actually watch that documentary? I watched some of it. I could not bring myself to watch the whole thing.
No, I watched
dick-sucking Hillary for, like, 2 hours, and then, like... oh, the only reason why I lost was because of that fake email thing or whatever. When it was obvious she did delete her emails, that was probably what she shouldn't have done, exactly what she shouldn't have done, no matter what was in there, because whatever was in there, it wouldn't have been as big as they were building it up to be, and like the whatever they could fit in the gaps. Like, oh, if there's nothing there, she deleted it. It must be the Hillary Clinton files, and they show all of her kills, or just whatever, or the whole Pizzagate thing and all that. Like, if it was just something that was just innocuous, and it was just like, people messaging about stuff, maybe calling somebody dumb shit or whatever, like just like normal like people stuff, she could have laughed it off and it could have been okay and it wouldn't have been anything. But the fact that she deleted it now,
does not help.
It doesn't help, but like also. It didn't help at the time. Nobody was pointing out that, like, okay, whenever they went back after the Pentagon Papers released and they tried to find stuff, like, in actual files from, like, Freedom of Information Act stuff, they also were using private emails at the time, and they also deleted everything. So you can't get anything from any of that, even from a Freedom of Information Act request, because it literally doesn't exist anymore. And, like, the entire Trump presidency is currently using, like, both, like, Ivanka, the Cushman, and a couple of people that are now fired were all using primary or like private email addresses.
Oh, who can forget?
And Trump still uses his unsecured cell phone. Like, he uses, I think it's like a BlackBerry.
Yeah. Well, you can tell because whenever he's tweeting, I think that's the phone that you said. And then when it's someone on his staff typing like he does, it's on a different device.
That's still crazy to me that he has someone from his staff type like him so he can post more often.
Well, the big telltale sign is whenever he has an ellipses at the end, it's never him. Never him. Because he finally figured out how to...
Oh, because he doesn't make threads?
Yeah. And so ever since someone pointed that out, I'm like, oh, God, that's right.
Oh my!
That's totally not Trump.
Is that really... that is hilarious. So because Trump doesn't know how to make threads, the longer ones is just like dictated, not read. Like it's just like somebody like writing down what he's saying. He goes on a rant and then goes, "Hey, tweet that," and then some poor intern has to decipher it from like English into like Trump speak. He's just like sitting there with like his like Trump thesaurus, where he has to like replace normal words with like bigly.
You know what? I feel bad for whoever has to do that. Even if they love the guy.
I mean, he
Jesus.
probably like spits on him as he like exits the room.
But Jake
Makes him
he's
tell
a-
him he's pretty. Tell him
he's
his
a
raccoon
kind
eyes don't look as bad today.
Christian man. He would never belittle anyone. No one. And he definitely would not befriend anyone who, help traffic children, but let's not talk about that, right?
Yeah. That's man, I don't know. I don't like Trump, right? I don't. But it's really hard for me to say anything positive about Biden other than he's just not Trump. And that's exactly like why he might win. And it makes me really, I don't know. I just
Well, the bar is set very low.
Oh yeah, the bar is set. I mean, it's the lowest it's quite literally ever been. Even if we're going just on approval numbers, like the bar has literally never been lower, and it was real low in 2016. And because Hillary is a robot, like a bureaucrat, entrenched robot, and she can't display human emotion, and was having like seizures that she refused to talk about. Do you remember that? Where she was just like falling over.
I will say, as bad as that is, what I thought was really despicable but completely not really surprising was it was on the 9/11 anniversary, and like I think she was sick with something, and I mean she was like terribly sick, and she had tripped or something when she was walking outside with her staff to her car, and I remember going on Twitter, and pretty much all the comments were like, "I hope she dies," and I'm like, "Eesh, that's a statement that I wouldn't say publicly."
Yeah. Wait.
And I mean, that
did
was
you give me the link?
for like 2
You didn't give me
days.
the link. Send me the stream link.
Oh, my bad.
Fucking
I
asshole.
thought I did. What is your name?
What is my name? Just go on Discord and send it to me.
It's
What
sent.
is my name?
I don't know who I'm talking to, frankly.
My Discord name is Jeb.
With an exclamation point.
Well, because, so on election night, right, I was playing Counter-Strike. I was playing Counter-Strike on election night, and everybody was like, because it's video games and gamers are like real edgy, and they were all, posting like, in every game on voice chat in game, they were all saying like Trump 2020, kill the N-words, and like get the Mexicans out, build that wall. And I changed it to Jeb because it was funny, and it was political, but it was like nobody really cares about Jeb other than they thought it was funny. And so I
Right.
changed it to that. Everybody laughed, and I just kind of kept it because I liked it. Because everybody
I love
still like earlier today, I was playing Insurgency, and I was the top of the server, and like at the end it said most kills Jeb, most points Jeb, or whatever. And then like everybody, like somebody said please clap over the voice comms, and then a couple people actually started like clapping into their mics. Like it's still funny, like just having the name. It's not clever. Like I'm not like some like clever jokester. I'm coming up with clever jokes, but I'm just like my name is Jeb exclamation point.
Dude, it's funny. It's like, it's simple, but it's hilarious.
Can you imagine if your entire political career boiled down to your name and exclamation point and people just laughed looking at it?
Dude, even if the whole please clap thing never happened, why would you use that as your campaign slogan? It's,
Just
I mean,
Jeb exclamation point.
it's the complete opposite of who Jeb is as a person.
Well, if you remember
But-
at the time, I honestly don't think they put very much thought into it, because like at the time, they he was the candidate people thought was going to
Oh, I remember that.
He was
I remember
the
that.
one because he was well funded. He had the name recognition. He was polling great. And this is before Trump, like, even anybody remotely knew that he was going to run, right? Like, nobody knew. And just afterwards, just the shift, I think is hilarious. Like, it also produced my favorite video that has ever come out of any campaign ever. Anything to do with, like, I don't know. Like just the video of him and like the saga of his tortoises that he kept in his pocket.
Wait, I don't think I've seen this
You
before.
haven't seen it? Hold on. I'll have to mute my audio because I still don't know how to do that yet, but I'll live vicariously through your laughing.
That sounds made up.
Yeah, hold on.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he literally like, no, not Tucker Carlson turtles. My brain is rotting.
I mean, I would watch that video too. Also, thank you to the 2 people that have been watching this entire time.
It's fluctuated. I doubt these are the same people. If you are, I'm really happy you're here. And
You are now my best friend.
oh, here's a Jeb Bush cringe compilation.
Wasn't, on a side note, wasn't Vic Berger, didn't he get popular because of all those videos making fun of the
Yeah,
Republic?
that's how Vic Berger got big, was making all those like videos during the. I mean, he was working on stuff previous to that, but like he got big after he started doing like all that.
Because he's always been with, well, not always, but more recently he's been with Tim Heidecker, right?
Yeah. I mean, they've been doing the show. They've been doing Office Hours, which I love. I listen to every time I'm like, of course, it's called Office Hours, and the whole gag is it's during work, which, you know, it's Tim Heidecker. So that even that's a joke because nobody can watch it because it's like literally it starts at 9 a.m. and goes until like 5 p.m. No, not 5 p.m., but it goes until like 4 p.m., 3 p.m. Like they just do it for a couple of hours in the middle of the day, which I think is I mean, it's hilarious that his entire thing's a joke.
He is such, I mean, of the 2, Tim and Eric, I think Tim Heidecker is the much more complex comedian because, I don't know, his sense of humor is just much more long-lasting.
Oh yeah, dude. I think Tim Heidecker is hilarious. I mean, I still listen to every episode of Office Hours. I watch everything he puts out. I'm kind of a simp. Like I think he's hilarious. Anyways, watch this Jeb Bush cringe compilation real quick because I think it's in here. So I'm gonna mute my mic and we're gonna.
Okay. Tim Heidecker, right?
Yeah. I mean, they've been doing every episode of Office Hours. I watch everything he puts out.
Okay.
Tim Heidecker, right?
Wait, no, don't watch on the stream.
You're doing every episode of
What, Joel?
Yeah.
Don't watch on the stream.
Why don't you interrupt like the other people do?
Really?
Oh wait, hold on. You have to.
I've got embedded in
Yeah, no, I have to.
You mean interrupt?
I mean, the sad thing is I've seen these first 2 clips many times.
You know what? Never mind. We'll figure that out later. How that works. How I can do that because I have it all like my stream set up right now is like just cobbled together like a like something that I was gonna make some joke about Trump. I lost it honestly. Like it escapes me, but like
I'm sure it'll come back.
Like it escapes me like the gasp between his giant ass cheeks. Is that good? Is that a good one?
That's 10 out of 10.
Oh,
I chuckled.
So what else has been going on? They broke up the autonomous zone, and I'm kind of sad.
Yeah, they actually get all of it because I was under the impression at first it was just like section by section.
I mean, they may have been doing that. I haven't looked much today because there's been other news today. That was yesterday.
Yeah, this year just has a way to make last week's news feel like a year ago. I can't comprehend the next 6 months ahead of us because, of course, the predictable crazy story, which we've already talked about, is the election this November. And of course you have COVID, and that's never going to go away apparently. You have murder hornets, which did not come in June, and I'm a little disappointed in that because I wanted to see them in action. It's just,
yeah,
it's bullshit.
Yeah, it's. I mean, that would have at least been interesting, and you know what? It would have. Honestly, what we need is those, right? So hear me out. Like if you're out there, if you're from China, you're monitoring this to see the propaganda coming out of the West. I need you to I need you to listen. I need you to go back into the Wuhan lab. I need you to create some kind of murder hornet that is just hyper fertile, has a very low like gestation, like their eggs just pop, and they'll go everywhere outside. Right? It'll force people indoors. It'll kill the spread. Stop the spread. Want to stop the spread? Get the murder hornets on the streets. We need them out there.
Please and thank you, China. Please.
That's how you stop the spread. That's how you stop the spread.
This dude, did I tell you? And then I should probably get off. My mom called me today, right? I'm sorry, I called her, and we were talking about how tomorrow her and my stepdad are going to be celebrating their wedding anniversary.
Okay.
And I had made kind of an offhanded comment being like, hey, wear your mask because they're going to go see a movie, which apparently those are open. And she was like, I don't want to talk about this. So that turned into a shouting match between the two of us, where she was very pro-mask, very pro-quarantine, really, even though she's a very supportive Trump lover. And now she thinks that
masks dirty. Like, I don't even want like those words. She's a Trump lover. Like, they're just, I don't know. I don't like.
You know what?
Sounds.
Especially with my own mom. I am sorry, Mom. She loves Trump in
there you go.
And but yeah, she used to be very pro all of that, and now she's saying that Dr. Fauci is bad and masks are bad and masks give you the virus, and that we don't need to give in to the fear. And I mean, I could make a joke out of it if it wasn't so depressing. It's just I don't
Very
understand
so. Yeah.
how.
And she's far from the only one. I mean, like even
I know.
My dad's pretty like level-headed about most things, and he's being level-headed about this. But even he, because he doesn't. He's like me if I listen to like Kamala Harris. Like, there's gonna be some things I'm gonna come off agreeing with, but there's gonna be most things I don't. So, but I'm still gonna have that emotional connection, because of like we talked about on the stream that we just recorded. Like, I mean, on the podcast we just recorded. Like, you're gonna have that emotional connection to it a little bit because it's a talking point. That's the goal, even if you don't really like subscribe to it. Like, my dad still thinks the COVID's overhyped. He still thinks you should probably be safe, but it's not that bad. Still,
right?
Like, and there's more cases. He gets kind of like halfway worried about it, but he's still. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. It's overhyped. It's not. Like it's like even the people that are in the middle about it aren't being as safe as they should be because they still ascribe to a little bit of it. And
it's a very toxic form of reluctancy because it makes people, as you mentioned, who are in the middle close enough to where they're doing more than people who thinks it's a hoax, but at the same time they're still not fully.
It's almost like this also applies to like racism in the US.
What?
It's almost like this is a problem on the right where even if they don't completely ascribe with what Trump says, like all illegals being rapists, they go, well, yeah, I mean, yeah, that, I don't like how he said that. And then comes the, but there are some illegals that could kill people, and not having any illegals come in means no one would die. So if no one dies, we shouldn't have illegals in because illegals are ruining our country and they're taking your, like, it's a slow slope, and they get you on the front part, and then you go a little deeper. And you go a little deeper, and then you just fall in.
And I think it's especially hard to accept because you and I and Will and everyone else can sit and mock people online all day.
It's really fun.
But when it's someone that is close to you, of course, if it's a parent, my big concern with what my mom said is she's going to be 70 this fall.
Jesus.
And she has had a history of some. You what?
And she's just going out there. She's not wearing a mask. It's a hoax.
Right. Like, I mean, now that the governor of Texas has said, hey, wear a mask or get fined, maybe that'll do something. But, in the middle of us arguing, I just very blatantly asked her, I'm like, if Trump came out right this second and said, wear a mask, please, I beg you, would you support him? Or would you do it? And she's like, well, I mean, probably. I'm like,
Wow.
okay, but you just spent the past 10 minutes saying that masks are bad.
Well,
like, you have to pick
go
a side.
send her the article about him wearing the mask. Actually, no, here's what you do. You go online, you find one of those shitty websites that just, like, puts logos on things, and they sell it like it's their own original art. You find one that has the Lone Ranger on it. Because she's old, you're going to print out an article. You're going to print out that article, Joel, that says that he thinks it makes him look like the Lone Ranger, and he's going to wear one now. And you send that to her in a box, and you say, hey, look at this. And she'll see it, say, oh, Trump thinks it makes him look like the Lone Ranger. Oh, it says Lone Ranger on it. My Trump friends will laugh. There's actually been this thing going around online where there's been people trying to pressure the Trump administration into putting out merch that is masks and saying how much they want to buy it and all this. It's fake. They're using bots and stuff, but they're all tweeting at him to, like, make face masks, make them so that, like, right-wing folk will actually start wearing them. And I think that's hilarious because it's sad because that would be the only way that they would,
Yep.
But, like, it's, yeah.
It also is kind of genius because, I mean, in the lead up to the Tulsa rally, I was switching, I think, between CNN and MSNBC. And before they went into the arena, I would say a good, maybe 10% of people that were on the side or being interviewed were wearing masks. And every single mask that was on was MAGA or Trump 2020 or snowflakes or, something like that. But I mean, they were at least wearing them. So I got to give them credit there.
As much as I think those people are dumb pieces of shit, like, I want them not to die. And I think that's a very... I think when people say, like, oh, the left is just as bad as the right or whatever, like, that's why I still push back so hard on it. Because even though there are going to be some people that are on Twitter that say something like, oh, they deserve it or just whatever, there's going to be the other side of the left that is genuinely trying to trick them into being healthier. Mm-hmm. And not dying. Like, I think it's funny that there's, like, this whole, like, section of the left that is genuinely trying to keep Trump supporters alive. Mm-hmm. And, like, Tucker Carlson will want you to believe, like, the clip I was trying to find, where he essentially was like, they're gonna, the BLM movement has a mansion and, behind there they're doing their stuff, and they come out and they're gonna take down the statues because something, and they don't like your culture, and then they're gonna come for your children and kill them. Like, it's like him.
And also canceled God, because that's another talking point they had too.
Yeah, we're canceling God. Dude, like, Christian persecution complex is one of the things that makes me, like, not the angriest, it's, like, just, like, the most annoyed, I think. Because, like...
Oh, it makes me angry. It makes me very angry.
It makes me mostly annoyed, because, like, angry would be, like, them saying the stuff that they're going to say afterwards, but that part of it is fine. But, like, when they go, like, but the Muslims, and I go, nope, please quit. Yep. But, like, if you were, like, in other countries for being a Christian, you would be, like, shot in the head. Those countries do still exist.
Oh, of course they do.
But, like, here, people will just, like, make fun of you on Saturday Night Live. And I feel like that's the, like, they just don't like being made fun of. Like, they're, like, the real snowflakes, which also bothers me because, like, a Republican can say whatever he wants to me, and I'm not going to get, like, that upset because I know what he's saying and he's just being dumb. But, like, there's... I don't know. Just talking about the right, like, it just feels different. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm a big old lefty, but I just.
I think the biggest part that I drift from in terms of what I like to consider like Twitter left is by all means
Twitter.
I need to pre-note this by saying I don't want Herman Cain.
Yeah, but I also don't.
But that's the thing,
it's
is like
there's hilarious,
people, right, on Twitter who are just thinking it's like the funniest thing, which I mean it is kind of funny, but like they're also wishing him the worst, and I'm like, don't do that, because then that gives these crazy QAnon Republicans, more fuel to
Yeah. And
find conspiracy theories.
and I still struggle with like thinking things are bad because it gives them fuel or whatever. Like I still struggle with that being like my actual ideology, like my actual like thinking when somebody does something, because in the end you could say whatever and they would turn it. If you're gonna say that, it's fine. It's more direct and it's, but like I don't know. I feel like no matter what you do, like Black Lives Matter protests, they were only like violent or riotous for the first like 2 days, since maybe three, maybe four, but there has been 30 straight days of Black Lives Matter protests in big cities all over our country, all totaling thousands or tens of thousands, and they haven't been violent since. There's been a couple of skirmishes, especially if you live in Virginia. I'm very sorry because they've been getting shit on by their police still. Like they're still tear gassing, and then the police come out the next day and say we weren't tear gassing or whatever. It was just a smoke screen, or like it's. And then like the protesters are on Twitter and they post pictures and videos of them picking up the canisters saying tear gas dispersant, and then like in big red letters. I don't know. It's just it's not the same as what is being portrayed to you by like Tucker Carlson, which is they're constantly rioting and looting and they're going to come for your kids. And a good podcast I listen to, which I don't know why, I think I have a morbid fascination with Alex Jones, but there's a podcast I listen to called Knowledge Fight instead of InfoWars, you get it. And they listen to every single Alex Jones episode, or one of them does, and he talks about it and they make fun of him. And they point out specifically why he's wrong. But I think why I like listening to it is these are larger Republican talking points that do, get outside of Alex Jones' show. And they're very good at analyzing it and calling it for what it is. And it's become very apparent that most people that talk on like an article, or like a Ben Shapiro or whomever, they read the headline, just like Alex Jones, just like to an extent Tucker Carlson. They read the headline, they don't go any deeper. They see black people in the streets. They see white people out there with them. The black people are now somehow oppressing those white people into marching with them. They're terrible. And then that's it. Like that's it. And they scream about them wanting to come take your holidays and rape your daughters. Like it's, I don't know.
I will say, I think about Alex Jones, despite his following, it always alarms me on the rare occasion when I see someone with an InfoWars bumper sticker, because
always,
I'm like,
always you go, oh gosh, you need like a feeling in your gut, don't you?
It's my favorite memory of that. So here in St. Louis, there's a Christian radio station. It's called Joy FM, and okay. I think it's 99.1. So they have a tendency where anyone who has a Joy FM sticker, they can't drive to save their fucking lives, right? They're just fucking terrible. There's Facebook groups about it. If you live here, it's a really funny thing. And so one day, I was driving on the highway, and there was this car in front of me that had 3 Joy FM stickers and 2 InfoWars stickers. And I was like, yep, that makes a lot of sense. And they also were terrible drivers. So they live up to that stereotype. But the whole time, I was just like, how do you exist? I mean, how are you a real person that has their own original thoughts? And, they were like 60 something when I drove past them. It's just...
Yeah, no,
it's nuts.
I don't know. Like, every time I see an Alex Jones bumper sticker, I get kind of sad. Like, anything to do with his stuff. Like, I just kind of get, like, I don't know, like, how do you believe that? It's, like, immediate incredulity. Like, immediately when I see an Alex Jones bumper sticker, I go, ugh, how? Why? Why do you have that?
That's the correct response.
I remember I worked with this guy when I lived in Wichita. In this warehouse that I worked in, and he every day, the whole day. I mean, he was an okay dude. He was okay to talk to. Occasionally, he was funny, but like every day, the entire day, watched InfoWars, and I mean the entire day, the whole time when he was working. He had InfoWars on his screen while he was doing stuff at his desk, because that's what he did. He worked at his desk. That was fine. But InfoWars, constantly, all day. And I walked past him. He'd be listening to it. I started talking to him about some things, and I realized, I was like, oh, yeah, well, maybe he's just kind of a normal dude, doesn't like regular news, whatever. And then one day, I forget what he said to me. He was going into like race theory, essentially.
Oh,
And like we were very friendly up until that point, joking about work and this and that, just kind of office chit chat. And he started going off on that to me. I mean, it's the only time I've really done this to like a person. It did feel really good. I was like, shut the fuck up, Chuck. Like, I don't care about InfoWars and your racist shit. Like, go away. And he kind of got mad at me. He yelled at me a little bit, and I just kind of walked away from him, and that was it. And then we didn't talk anymore.
I mean, I think you handled that pretty well. Because, one of I don't know if I told you this, but when I used to explore empty buildings like every weekend or more, there was this one guy in our group who, kind of like this Chuck guy, was very nice and like we got along well and all that. But I quickly realized that he was a huge conspiracy theorist and an even bigger Alex Jones fan. And around the time that Trump won in 2016, he would tag me and a few other like liberal people in the group on Facebook, just a bunch of right-wing nonsense. And I'd forgotten about him. I didn't even know that he still followed me on Instagram. But then one day, I think it was about a day or two after the George Floyd protest started, he started tagging me and another guy who I don't even know who it was in just like insane white power movements on Instagram. And he did this for like 2 days straight until I finally told him to just please stop because I'm not going to support his racist. I don't even want to be involved in racist shit. And he replied some asinine, just like straight up white supremacist KKK sort of
Oh, hell yeah, brother.
nonsense. And then he brought other people into it, and I blocked him, and now I don't, have him on anything. But it's just like the determination that he just can't accept that people don't like Alex Jones and don't care for his rhetoric and don't care for, the problems that he causes.
That's like the chick that I went to college with. Normal chick. Just normal, regular girl in a sorority. It was just like you would think of like college girl, and she was college girl. And then at a certain point, so she got married to this guy who is I think he's a Navy SEAL or a Marine. He's like real hardcore military guy. And they have a kid and all that kind of stuff. Well, I think because I had a long period of time where I was not on Facebook. I got back on because of my job at the time, and I still have one because I am inside of a bunch of Trump groups and I make them mad. But she just started posting like anti-vax stuff. I just noticed at the very beginning it was like right before COVID hit. I was like, oh, that's weird. Oh, why are you doing that? You were kind of cool. And then like next post is like COVID starts, right? And it's like instantly like anti-COVID. And then it gets more and more like vitriolic and more going on other people's pages and talking shit and stuff. And then I went down this whole rabbit hole of just like following people that I knew like in high school, going back, college, looking back, looking at their current posts and just like yelling at them. And I got really angry just because they were like, it's a hoax or whatever. And then like, oh my God, that one chick with the kid, she posted a picture like the same day she was calling like COVID a hoax. She went to the grocery store, was complaining about them not selling her seeds because that was when we were actually trying to like stop it. And posted a picture of her daughter with her she was in the car seat or in the on the cart seat or whatever, like on the shopping cart, and her mouth is just open and on the handlebar.
No.
And I was just like, what in the hell? But this is the same day, like, she uses this post to complain about COVID stuff. It's like, your stupidity is literally killing people. There are millions of people like you, and you're literally the reason why it's having a resurgence. Hospitals in Houston and Dallas are there's a couple of hospitals in Dallas that are at capacity, and a couple in Houston that are getting closer. Maybe I have it backwards. Doesn't matter. Point is, Texas is about to have so many people die.
Yep. Well, I mean, like I was saying the other day, I think it's going to be about 2 weeks before you start to see the death count and in Florida, of course, too.
Don't get me start on the Florida quote unquote pneumonia diagnoses. Have you seen that shit?
I have.
I literally I've tried thinking of benefit of the doubt. It's an error. Hospitals are reporting this in error, but it only happens in this state. It's only been happening for the past 3 months, and pneumonia has like, it is the same symptoms more or less as COVID, other than the more bizarre ones like the losing your smell and your feet stuff. But like, other than that, it's kind of the same. You're coughing a lot, you got a fever, whatever. But like, the fact that they've had like every other year they have like a couple hundred, couple thousand. This year they have like 20,000 or whatever. It's very obvious that instead of counting these as COVID cases, they're counting them as pneumonia cases, so they can maybe just go back later and say, "Oops, we biffed it." Like I don't get why they're doing it, other than it's like a statewide directive, and they're like begging hospitals to report it that way. Some are, some aren't, but like still.
Right.
And there's been people fired out of Florida who were journalists and people that work in the government for trying to intentionally skew the numbers.
Yeah.
And they like refused to do it. That one chick made that article about it. And then like there's also like, oh, what was it? I had a point, but whatever. Point is, that state is intentionally obfuscating their cases. I think, is it Arizona where they started refusing to release statistics, or was that Nevada?
That's Arizona.
I knew it was one of those two fucking turquoise states.
Well, right now, let me pull this up because, last week or maybe a week and a half ago, it was pretty much just Florida, Texas, and Arizona, right?
Sure.
And now all of a sudden it's Florida, Texas, Arizona. Ohio's been shooting back up. Alabama, Arkansas, Georgia. I'm sorry, not Georgia. God damn it, where is it? One of the New England states is starting to get worse again, like significantly worse. And I just, it's very telling with Florida how every other state is being semi-candid, or Republican states at least, in terms of how bad it's happening. And then Florida's like, nah, we're not going to fuck with that. We're just going to pretend like it's not happening.
They're literally just pretending like it's not happening.
Right. And then DeSantis is one of the worst governors
He sucks.
I think I have ever seen, because he's not going to close anything in Florida for July 4th, and
he's not.
Happen. I mean, like, my heart really does go out to the citizens of Florida who are trying their best to not, fucking die from this terrible disease, but their government isn't doing anything, and it's such a Republican-run state, top to bottom, that there's no hope.
I mean, it's sad, but like literally for people to understand that these people are lying to them. I mean, it's going to take literal like thousands and thousands of people dying, maybe tens of, maybe hundreds of. And that is, I mean, like, honestly, like we've always joked about like the boomers dying or whatever. Our fucking podcast is a guillotine thing. But like, it's like those people are like legitimately just like, boomers are going to die in mass before this stops, because one, boomers hold like the majority of power in our country, the majority of capital. So because of that, of course, they have the most sway, they have the most control, and so they're gonna have to die for them to understand it, because they have the control, and they also don't believe it's real by and large.
Nope.
And it's gonna have to be like, it's like a war, and they start losing the war before they realize that like they have to give up, like, because they've taken not like figurative heavy casualties, literal heavy casualties from this enemy that they refuse to believe exists, while it fucking creeps through their beds at night and cuts them in the throat. Man, it's crazy. Like, I don't get it.
And I was complaining about this to Mindy yesterday while we were on our walk, because one of the most common tactics that the right will use, boomer and non-boomer, is how, they pull a percentage like, oh, it's just 0.2%, like whatever. Like, sorry, buddy, but we have 331 million people. Like, if we're losing 131,485 people right now, that's pretty fucking bad. Considering that, as I like to use this stat quite often, we lost 60,000 of those people in 30 days. Because of one virus that we just gave up trying to defeat. And,
or
it's
didn't even acknowledge that it existed.
Right. And like, what is it? July 2nd. I guarantee you by midway through August, we're going to have at least 200,000 people dead, because these three states, well, I guess more like Texas and Florida, are doing jack shit to prevent all these deaths from just
And
making something that
they're
of
less than
capital
doing
money.
jack shit though. They actively open back up because they wanted to, because money. They all open back up. They told everybody to go back to work. All these people that are poor had to go to work, and like I'm sure you've heard about like the bus drivers and hospital workers and like frontline people who have contracted or died from COVID because they have to continue to go to work, and
Yep.
it's oh god, dude, it's so sad. And then it's also sad because every single time you see one of these people, like generally there's been a couple that are far right that would never admit it, but like there's been a couple that were kind of like just people that didn't have a very strong political affiliation, that just thought it was a joke or was overblown or whatever because they don't watch the news, whatever. And
Right.
they've got it, and then they've made like public apologies. They're like they're nobodies. They're just like regular people, but they are like actively like going on social media, going to the press or whatever, and going, "Look, I was wrong. I was tweeting about how it was nothing. I was going online. I was, going telling people in public, but dude, I regret it. I put my family in danger. Like all of them. It's not just like one or two of them."
There was back in early April, the first case I had of it, and then I actually do have to get off because I keep forgetting. There was this guy.
I'm intentionally not reminding you.
Thank you so much, Jake.
You're welcome.
There was this guy in Ohio. I want to say he was probably like mid-60s, and he was involved in many pro-Trump Facebook groups, many anti-COVID Facebook groups, and he unfortunately did pass away from developing COVID. And I mean, it was quick. I want to say it was maybe 2 weeks. And
is he the bigger guy?
Yeah, he was.
He had like a little beard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, that just seriously, that broke my heart because I mean,
was that the guy that his last words were like, "I regret like not taking COVID seriously" or whatever?
No one deserves that.
No, they don't. They don't. They really don't, and it's very sad. And I want people to take it seriously for the threat that it is, and I mean, don't take it too seriously to where it's worrying you all day every day. It's all you can think about. You're worried about touching anything. Just be cautious. I mean, like, wear a mask, wash your hands more than usual.
Wear a fucking mask. It's
if
not
you're one
hard.
of those dudes that takes a shit and then just like runs the sink so that people think you washed your hands, maybe like occasionally just like wash your hands. I don't know, man.
I mean,
I just want people not to die in the hundreds of thousands. I know it's real bleeding heart liberal of me, but it's just I just don't want hundreds of thousands or millions of people to die because people are stupid by nature. I do the same shit sometimes, but the stupid shit that the right gets people to do is infinitely more harmful than like the left, like don't hate gay people. Well, on the right, it's like, don't wear a mask that will prevent you from getting a preventable disease as long as you stay away from people and wear a mask and wash your hands. Like, that's some big ask to not have the literal plague. It's just, American culture is very about individualism, individuality, about freedom, and it's been perverted, I think, away from a more... I think that we're supposed to work together a little bit. We're supposed to have a common goal. And because of the fact that, we are highly materialistic, we're highly individualistic, we all have our own, Facebook pages and our carefully curated views that we put out into the world. And I feel like because of that, we had two things happen. One is good, one is bad. One's good. We are legitimately more connected. You can talk to anybody. I like being that we can talk to somebody famous if they say something stupid. We can yell at them, and then sometimes they'll respond. I had Riff Raff block me on Twitter. I know that Riff Raff had to physically go over and block me. I think that's great. He had to choose to stop getting messages from me because I kept saying, "Yo, what up, G?" And I think that's awesome. But like, also, it's enabled a bunch of people to create these identities for themselves that are both shallow but also affect your critical thinking because of how we interact with social media and how we consume the media, and it just leads you down this hole of just like I don't know, echoes that make you believe. It moves the goalposts a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. It makes you believe more and more things are fake news. It's fascism, and fascism does work. It's worked historically, it works currently. It's fascism light right now. It's Donnie's fascism light. And he's not
Right.
very good at it, and if he was better at it, it would be fucking scary. But if he was better at it, he could be a full-on fascist. It could happen. There are people stupid enough that if Trump went on television and said, go kill the black people in your neighborhood, people would go do it. Like, it wouldn't just be a few people. It would be a lot of people would do it. And it's because of the fact that he would go on there, say, I don't know, something about how they're rats and how they're stealing everything from them. They want to take their culture. There's some other guy that did that, and then he justified everything that came next afterwards. I forget his name. Starts with an H, ends with a Hitler. Oh, it's Hitler. It's Hitler. But yeah, no, it's the same shit, right? It's not as bad. It's still bad. It's not as bad. And I think that's why people like recoil. And this is the last thing I'll say. I'll let you get off, and we'll get off. But people recoil whenever you compare him to Hitler, because obviously he's not gassing Jews. Obviously he's not trying to force the annexation of Canada or whatever the fuck. But he's still doing things that are fascist. And just because the only fascist the regular American knows is like Hitler and maybe like Stalin, like that. Or Stalin wasn't really a fascist; he was a whole different thing. But still, because that's the only interaction that Americans have with fascism, and it's the only form of it they can actively spot.
Immediately like, no, don't say that. That is not the
exactly. Truth. It's not the truth. It's fake. It's fake news. But just because someone isn't shooting someone in the head doesn't mean that they aren't like encouraging a suicidal person to go purchase a weapon. Like, just because he's not doing it doesn't mean he's not helping. And that's kind of my main issue with Trump, is that he is a fascist. He does fascist things. He does them constantly. He says them constantly. That how he talks down in the media, how he uses rhetoric that is like, police using force to enforce whatever, how, even if he doesn't do all of the things, if he did do all the things that he said, he would be a straight up like military dictator. Like, but it's the rhetoric, and it's fascist rhetoric. It does stop there mostly, not with the putting the foreigners in cages because they had the gall to try to escape the country that the U.S. ruined. But it's still real bad. And that's the positive note we're going to end on.
I was going to say that is a fantastic segue into the podcast that we're going to be recording this weekend with the special guest, which I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, yeah, that dude.
Should be really good.
Special guest, that one dude that I read that article and I liked, and Will's getting him on the podcast. He's an interesting guy. I think he's going to be good to talk to. Well, if you are that one person that's been off and on listening, I don't think it's the same person, but you've been listening for like 20 minutes. We're going to release a podcast. If you follow me or Joel on Twitter, it'll be there, or you can find it on Spotify and SoundCloud. It's Bring It Back. And if you want to listen to it, it's okay. I would start at like episode 4 and see if you like it, because the first 2 episodes are terrible. 3 and 4 are good, though.
We're getting there, and that is what counts, I think.
And if you're one of my relatives watching, I'm sorry about the swearing, and I'm sorry you didn't know if I was a radical lefty. We can work through this. We can find common ground. Together. And the cursing, I'm sorry. I mean, I curse a lot. Especially when I'm talking about politics. That's when I curse the most.
I can't imagine why.
It's not even close. Like, I just get so animated about it.
Well, I mean, it's easy. I mean, I had to bite my tongue many times when I was arguing with my mom today. But yes, on that note, good night.
If you watched, goodbye.